While I was growing up, it was customary for people to share. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many people who still share, but we have to admit that over the course of time, a lot of greed and selfishness have set in. A little story. Miss Dorothy searched for a suitable container. She found the one and neatly packed rice and peas, stewed chicken, and salad into a container and placed it in a bag. She some fish cakes, put some fish cakes in there too. Then she called out to her son, Robert. Robert, come here. Take this bag to the old woman, Miss Bernadette, who lives close to the mango tree on the hill. Well, back then, people did not have much. Actually, they were termed poor people. But the little that they had, many of them shared, and they were glad to do so. I'm not saying there were no selfish individuals who aimed to keep everything for themselves, but generally speaking, kindness prevailed. I wrote about the various occasions. A woman called Miss Teresita stewed her chicken, and she was so happy. It tasted so well, she had to share with her neighbor. She often bent out the window of the old Janet house and shouted, Georgie, you have to taste this. And as she bit into the stewed chicken, she said, rice is the answer. So thankful to God for providing food. Now, that was an expression that is the answer expression she adopted from a revival service that was once held at the Market Hill Pentecostal Church in Grenada. Now, I wrote also about the times I walked to Pandy Beach in Belmont, my favorite beach, early in the morning, and on my way, I often met a woman called Miss Leneve sweeping her yard. She always was so glad to see me. And after all those years, her pleasant voice still rings. Sonny, wait a minute, I have something for you. Then she rushed into her house and came out with a few mangoes, which she gave to me. I saved them for you, Sonny. They fell from a tree last night. Sadly, she passed away before I was able to give her anything, for I was just a student back then. I think of a Grenadian man called Mr. Rush, who loved to cook and invite people to his house. And as they dived into the curry goat, the rice, the vegetables, he looked at them and said, Eat, Papa, eat! And so they did. I must include people whose charitable hearts prompted them to give money to parents to help them pay school fees or buy books for their children. Good people, God bless them. Those unsung heroes, they did not only talk kindness, they lived kindness. Take a bow, John Crow Alexander. I recall the times I came home, ate my dinner, and saw a tempting plate on the table. I could not touch it, for I knew my mother left it there for a neighbor. I applaud all those who made it their duty to visit the almshouse that we had before, the house of the mentally challenged, and that house that was known as the poor house. That's how they are called. To feed and comfort people who were in need. It was generosity that was unmatched, and more importantly, it came from the heart. That was essentially important. It was a plant nurtured and watered by love. I pictured a woman walking on an old dusty road, and then she halted in front of a house where old Mr. Harry once lived, and she called out to him. She cared, not like today we have people with their heads buried in the cell phone and no time to call out to a neighbor. But she called out to Mr. Harry. Neighbor, oi, good morning, you okay? And then Mr. Harry peeped out of his window and smiled and said, I dey love, my love, I dey. Just holding on. She was checking on him to ensure that all was well with him. Yes, friends, I point out all of this to emphasize an important point. Love, kindness, caring must never take a holiday. We live in a world where change is rapid. Technological advances are made every day. But should change involve a change from love and kindness to selfishness? In many ways, the technological changes make life so much easier and assures people much more comfort. However, we must not let selfishness and greed tightly grip our hearts in a world where many pant more after earthly possessions. And earthly possessions they could not or they cannot take with them when the final bell sounds. I have often said, and I will repeat, anytime you see a U-Haul truck carrying one's possession in a funeral procession, please let me know. Anthony Wendell the Riggs. And remember, when we leave this earth, very few will remember us. Very few will remember us and recall us. Our names. Yes, our names might pop up now and then. Oh, but you know that guy Jack was a very good fisherman. Or Peter was a good tailor. And then, what did they do? They go on to a different topic. We are just a passing cloud. Let kindness and caring, love and togetherness, let it reign. Anthony Wendell Riggs. God bless.